Oh, hi. Hello there. I seem to be handcuffed here. Dante, come. Look, I'm handcuffed. They got my hands tied, whoever they are or were. Anyway. It's the 13th of February, 2026. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of InTheImageClothingCompany, and I just seem to be the one in the wrong, okay? Let me own up to some things that I've done. Dante, Dante ate a chicken bone a few nights ago, okay? A couple nights ago, Dante ate a chicken bone, and I hit him for it. I punished him. I kicked him and punched him and threw him around a little bit. A lot of it? Who's to say? I was not happy with it because that's not good behavior for Dante to get into the garbage can and get a chicken bone out and eat it. And also Dante could die, okay, from sharp chicken bones. And so yeah, I hit him. I hit my dog. Called the authorities. I have my handcuffs on. There's a lot that I've done, okay, that a lot of people don't have a liking to. And so let me incriminate myself. This is me, Evan Strong, speaking about things Evan Strong has done. I've gone through a lot of accusations and which ones are true and which ones aren't true. Well, who's to really say, first off? I haven't denied anything that I've actually done, that people have addressed, that they've just got a problem with. I've owned up to all the things that everyone around me in this little bit of time here, past little while here as the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. Anything that people have addressed with me about my lifestyle and what's going on, I've owned up to it and I've addressed it. I've been living in my grandparents' house rent-free for about 3.5 years. I haven't had a job since probably 2022. It's 2026. Wow. It's been that long? It's probably been about 4 years since I've had a job, Yonde. That's crazy. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. But who doesn't want to retire, right? Isn't the goal to stop working at some point? So what's the problem with me not having some kind of job right now? Well, I live rent-free in my grandparents' house, but I've made it very clear to them and my mother, who has also lived with me here, for at least years now, and they can attest to that. I could be making anything up. But I've made it very clear to just kick me out and put your foot down and put me on the streets if I'm really not allowed to be here anymore, because, well, if they don't do it, the law could. The police officers, the law, they could come in and say, you're not allowed to live here anymore, you're not paying rent, and you must leave. Okay, then I must leave. Okay, but I haven't been actually kicked out, okay? And apparently this dog is such a problem, too. I didn't ask, though, if I could bring this dog into the house that I currently live in. But I brought him in first without asking the owners if I could, and they had rules against that. But since he's been here, the house doesn't have permanent damage to it, as far as I know, like irreversible damage. I'll say this, maybe nobody knows this. Who's incriminating who here? Dante actually went potty in the house the first week, I think 4 total times, urination. In the house that I didn't ask if I could bring the dog into, the dog urinated in the house for about the first week. He was nervous. He was a sheltered dog from the animal shelter, the South Utah Valley Animal Shelter. I've got paperwork in this same room I'm sitting in to prove ownership and where he came from. They've got records in the South Utah Valley Animal Shelter's records. Sure. I hit my dog the other day because he did something that could kill him. And so whoever takes what kind of side of anything, I did it out of love because I wanted to make a huge point of what happened so we can do what we can to not have it happen again. He won't remember. He won't remember. Maybe me just saying, no, don't do this. I hit him pretty darn hard. Pretty hard. But who's to say, right? If you never want to even squirt some water at your dog because you think that's too hard of hitting them, then is a little tap on the nose too much? And who's to really say, first off? Well, witnesses, okay. Incriminating myself, huh? Well, yeah. If my dog gets taken from me, my dog gets taken from me. My sister, Becca Strong, she's got a big problem with it. She can. It's every right of hers to have a big problem with it. This dog's so abused, so she thinks, right? I hit him. I did it. Evan Strong. I did it. But I'm the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, and I just want to make it clear. I've gone through so much in this time. So feel so bad for me, right? No. Am I making a big old scene out of this? Yes. Am I mocking myself here? Yes, I am. Because I can't take back anything I've done. And so before anybody gets anything twisted, maybe there's some things I can just say that I've done here, My sister threatened to call the police on me tonight because we were having a conversation she didn't like, and I was just standing there with my hands up in the air, and she'll attest to that if she says the truth of it. That's what I said to her, is what's it going to do to call the police to come have me removed? I've got my hands in the air. I was just having a conversation with her she didn't like. Okay. And she kept saying she wanted to leave and she wouldn't walk away. I wasn't stopping her. I wasn't in her way. I have every right, by the way, to publicly post things that truly have happened about my own life. Just sitting in this little corner of this room. Okay, which I've tied some rope around my wrist to just show how in the wrong I am. Throw the cuffs on me. The thing is, anything I post publicly, I can try to take back and I can try to delete it, but maybe somebody downloaded it before I got the chance to delete it, and now, yikes, it's out there. Well, so is everything. Jesus Christ is the all-searching eye. Jesus Christ sees everything that happens. He knew everything before it was going to happen. He planned it all. Jesus Christ is the truth, but what's ironic is the truth will set you free. Whatever that means, in whatever given individualistic case is what I mean. Yeah. My family keeps telling me how big of a problem they've got with me, although I keep saying, well, it's not anything I can even have any control over if I stay here or not in this house that I'm living in, because it's not my house. I'm not the owner of it. Yet, they tell me that they love me so much they want me to be here. Okay. Well, as the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, me speaking for this company that I've founded, and what does that even mean? It's not even a legal thing, is it, Evan? Are you just having some kind of delusion where you think you have a company? Where's the legal proof of it? Well, I'm doing what I'm doing here. I'll say that much, okay? As of today's date, I'm doing what I'm doing as of today's date. I am who I am as of today's date. I've done what I've done as of today's date. And I just want to be very clear that everyone's always going to have a problem with you no matter what. If I don't have a dog, I have a problem with something else. If I had the best job in the world, they'd have some other problem than that I need to get a job, because you don't get to tell me I need a job. You can kick me out onto the streets, but it hasn't happened. If I'm abusing a human being or an animal or anything, the law can get involved and restraining orders can get put in place, or my animals can be taken from me. Dante is legally my property currently, but, I'm under the legal system of the United States of America as a citizen of the United States of America, me, Evan Strong. People don't like you, and so they try to change you. And you know, I've said some really harsh things to my mother while we've lived together here. I've made a lot of threats. Does anybody have a question now? Will I own up to things? Will I own up to what I've done? You know, I got threatened to be punched in this house that I live in by my brother-in-law about a week and a half ago because I was saying things to my mom that he didn't like. Throw the cuffs on, you know? I don't even know if I paid taxes in like 4 years. What I mean by that is, that's not something I've even thought about. I do know that I haven't paid taxes in like 4 years. Is that illegal? Is that a crime? Is that going to be ruining my credit score for ever? Irreversible? Well, I'm in debt. The debt collectors have been trying to contact me to get me to pay money back because I got on a payment plan for some tires for a truck I had. Little 1996, no, it's 1993 Ford Ranger. I don't even have it anymore. I sold it with the new tires on it. I still owe the money on the tires plus the interest because I didn't pay it in time, and there was the interest fees of the payments for the tires. How long is this going to be? How long is he going to sit here and just confess what he's done that people could have such a big problem with? I've done it, whatever it is. Yeah. I'm 26 years old. I have no job currently. I'm the founder of InTheImageClothingCompany. It's my lifelong career. I haven't had any kind of monetary value compensation from it yet, but it is something that I have put work into for the past little over 16 months as of today's date. I posted a video on the internet where this will be placed as well, okay? Under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, one of the fourths to In the Image Clothing Company. A couple days ago, except it was actually yesterday morning, the 12th of February 2026, because it was the night before, the 11th of February 2026, except it might have been past midnight, so maybe technically the 12th of February 2026. Dante ate a chicken bone out of the garbage can. The next morning, it was right here on the carpet, right next to where I am. Dante's actually laying basically on the spot where he threw up. He threw up the chicken bone, and I made a video about it and said, that I was grateful that he threw it up, so now I don't question, that piece at least was in his digestive system. That he pulled the chicken bone out of the garbage can. That's why I hit him, and I kicked him, and I punched him, and I threw him. Wow, does that sound crazy? But do you want to take my dog from me? Did I cause permanent damage to him? And what does that mean? If I kicked him and punched him and hit him, how hard was it? And the point is, my sister told me that she had other human beings sending her the video that I posted saying that my dog needs to be taken from me. I'm the one that filmed the video voluntarily and posted it voluntarily on the internet publicly, incriminating myself. But that's what I'm doing here, is actually giving deeper context, further incriminating myself and adding other things as well, just to show the truth that I am who I am. As far as I know, okay, without x-rays having been done yet, and I'm not going to do them for this, but Dante's not in any kind of physical harm, from the event. A little bit of blood came out of his bowel movement today on the 13th of February 2026 because that sharp chicken bone he threw up yesterday morning, the 12th of February 2026, but that could have killed him for sure. That's why I disciplined him the way that I did. Is it harder than you personally? Whoever you are would have disciplined your dog, maybe. Might be. Okay. I've done what I've done. You know, I had a lot of mold in the sink that I have access to in this kitchen in this house that I live in. I hadn't cleaned out the sink in weeks, but even longer than that. It was months. There was mold. It was pretty gross and disgusting. That's dangerous and hazardous to breathe, depending on the type of mold. I'm not the only one in this house. I don't own this house, and I don't even pay rent to live in this house. And yeah, the sink was really gross. I had let it go months without, fully cleaning it out. The dishes in the sink, and then, there was a big pot that had some other dishes in, and underneath that pot that was sitting on a little rack, there was a lot of mold, and it was gross, disgusting. I don't have all that good of a sense of smell, honestly. I mean, I could smell something in here, honestly, okay? But, yeah, I did not keep up on cleaning that. So my sister and my mother did it for me, and when I was out grocery shopping for my mom, instead of asking me to just do it as quick as I could, it's my responsibility. That's something I have to take accountability for. Letting all that mold fester in there and letting the sink get that gross. Yeah, it was pretty disgusting. It was my job to clean up, and they didn't even, after finding out how bad it was, ask me if I would clean it up before they just went ahead and did it. And, yeah, that's not me taking very good care of the sink. Or even the air in the house. My mom's on oxygen, but I mean, I've done what I've done. That's what I mean. Can I just confess some sins? Can I make this a whole big joke? Am I crazy? Putting a rope around my own wrist to prove a huge point about how I'm the problem? Isn't that what people want? You're trying to tell me how much of a problem I am? Don't you want me to admit it or acknowledge it? Well, here you go. Anyway, this is what's funny too, is on In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, we advocate for being a good owner of a dog. And I walk around the neighborhood, just from the house that I live in here, that I don't own or even pay rent to live in currently. I haven't been, truly formally asked to leave in a real direct way, which, I mean, they can physically have me removed if they need to, right? If I can't physically stop someone from removing me from the house, it's not even my house to begin with, and so I really couldn't even overstep in that way, really. I mean, but again, the reason that they say that I'm still here is because they love me and they don't want me to be homeless. And that's not my choice. I mean, that's a kind thing to love someone. Anyway, I walk with Dante off his lead. I walk with his slip lead in my hand and a little bag to clean up his bowel movement if he drops some on a walk. But I've trained him to stay on the sidewalk, and he'll stop at the corner and not even cross the street until I get there and let him know it's okay to. But it is illegal. It's against the law in the city or town that I currently live in to have any kind of dog outside in public off anything classified as a leash, in the way that the city law classifies a leash for a canine, an animal like Dante is here. He's a standard poodle, so any dog is the point. Yeah. You legally have to have him on a leash, and I have been. I did it today, 2 different walks today. I walked with Dante from the house that I live in here, just, around the blocks, real close by in this, subdivision, this suburban neighborhood. And that's me breaking the law. But then, I'm advocating for being a good owner of dogs on In the Image Clothing Company Poodles and taking accountability for things you do that are wrong, What else can we say that I do wrong? Well, this is what it means to be a disciple of Jesus Christ. It doesn't mean to be perfect. It means to tell the truth. What else is something I could say here that people have a huge problem with and seem, on their end like they're trapping me in it. Well, I've done it. If I've done it, only what I have done is what I have done. So, we'll title this "Confessing Some Sins" by me, Evan Strong. Man, I mean, I'll say this, when I first adopted Dante, I drove with him on my lap for a while. That's against the law. I mean, just me saying this right now is enough for me to have to pay the fine of whatever it is, the fee of that being illegal, or to get thrown in jail. If it comes to that, if that's really the repercussion for any one of these things. I could try to pretend like these things haven't happened, but I'd rather just be honest, because I feel as though a lot of people around me, and who I mean by that are my own blood family relatives, who a lot of them are just about dying, actually. As of yesterday, there's at least 4 of them, just my blood family members, they're in very, very, very rough shape. And it seems that what I'm doing that doesn't, have the same magnitude is the talk of discussion, and like I'm this big problem. And if I am, I am. So here's me addressing it, that I understand that there's a lot of things that I don't do right. A lot of things I intentionally do wrong because because I'm a human being, as we all are, and I like to be rebellious where I do. I like to try to prove points where I do. I'm very prideful. And, Anyway, my sister was threatening to call and have my dog be taken from me. So now there's no question. I've hit my dog. I've hit Dante really hard, punishing him for getting in the road, because that's not a place he can be safely if cars are coming by. But I am supposed to have him on a leash if he's outside, so how much of that is my fault? Well, the amount that is, okay? I was driving with Dante on my lap. I have stopped doing it, okay, since I was doing it, because, yeah, that can be very, very dangerous. Dante's extremely gentle. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He could be the best dog in the world. It's still against the law. I understand. Yeah, I understand. I understand because we can only be held accountable for things that we know. And there's a lot of things that I do know shouldn't happen that I still do. Yeah, Yeah. There's a lot of families out there, and none of them are perfect. So, if it's going to be better for me to be in a jail cell for things that people don't have, a good view toward that I do, then okay. If it's going to be better for me to be in a jail cell for anything that I've ever done that's illegal, well, I've done a whole lot of things that are illegal in my life, just like almost every single human being on the planet has, if they live in any place that has a law. I just don't want to hide about it, Maybe it's better if Dante is taken from me, and he's not my dog anymore. 1/4 of In the Image Clothing Company is In the Image Clothing Company poodles, but maybe there's some kind of legal decree that goes out that says Evan Strong is never allowed to own a dog again because he's abusive toward animals. Well, if that's what gets decided, there you go. If restraining orders get put on me, even though I haven't actually been formally, legitimately, sternly asked with no kind of hesitation to actually leave this house and move out somewhere else, then, if I don't do it, if I do get asked, then you can have a restraining order put on me, or, I can suffer all sorts of repercussions, but I'm not the one that decided to stay here. I can't. It's not my choice. It's not my house. I've been told many times how grateful the owners of this house are for all that I've done to and for the house, and to take care of my mother that lives with me. I mean, I'm very terrible to my mother a lot of the times. Call her names, and I threaten things to her and about her, and we get in these heated arguments, but at least now there's no question. I've said it. This is documented under the gift of video. I can feel so wrong after. Maybe I'm out of my mind right now, and I'm not in my right mind, and after this, I can just be like, man, maybe I should delete this. But if somebody downloaded it before I deleted it, then, well, it's posted publicly. People have the option to download it if they can. The thing is, Jesus Christ knows everything. And once I die, I'll come to the feet of Jesus Christ, and he'll run through my life with me. Like, well, you did these things good and these things not so good, and, I have to confess everything that I've ever done. We can't hide. That's what brings guilt, is pretending we didn't do things. If people ask me if I've ever hit Dante as a disciplinary action, which is the only time that I've done it, okay, I'm not just abusing Dante. I love Dante, and that's even what my family members tonight were telling me, is they know how much I love Dante, and they do. Yeah. But if I were to pretend that I had never hit an animal, because that just sounds so terrible, well, there's a lot of people out there that hit their kids. I'm not justifying, but who's going to get to the bottom of all of it? Start with me. Take my dog away from me if that's the solution. If I'm not allowed to discipline my dog in the ways that I personally discipline my dog, well, if it's against the legal system, it's against the legal system. Apparently, multiple people have had a problem with it so far. And they told my sister, and I can't say her name, I said earlier Becca Strong, her name's actually Becca Webb, and I'm only saying this because she addressed it with me, and I have every right to just name names like that, understanding that it's just the truth of what's occurred here. Me getting blamed for things that I've done, it's not a blame, you're just pointing out what happened, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, if I'm ever claiming to advocate for something, like being a good owner of a dog, well, maybe it's not such a good owner of a dog to hit your dog out of disciplinary action. All right. Can I confess some sins? Confessing some sins. Anyway, yeah. The law wants to know the truth, right? Well, here's the truth from the mouth of Evan Strong. Yeah, Dante and I went on 2 fairly lengthy walks today. One of them was about 2.5 miles, and the other one was probably right under 2 miles, and he was walking fine. Not only was he walking fine, he's excited, and he's got a lot of energy, and, he's a much better dog than he was when I adopted him. He was a true rescue, as I've said. He needed a lot of physical help. He had a lot of misalignments in his body, really. They said he came in really matted up to the shelter, and he's really nervous to do things when I first adopted him, and now he's a much more confident dog. He's trained much, much better now than he was when I adopted him. He's a much happier dog and more fulfilled dog. He didn't even wag his tail barely ever when I first adopted him, and now he does. He looks at me in my eyes all the time and has fun dancing with me. I say, Dante, up, up, and I pat on my chest with my hand, and he jumps up, and we just kind of like dance a little bit. I grab his front legs, and he stands on his back legs, and we have a good time. He sleeps in my bed with me or on the floor. It's up to him, Keep the door closed here. I've got a blanket on most all of the exposed carpet in this room, so he's not directly on the carpet in this house that I don't own. I've trained him to stay on the tile, and he does it almost always. He's very, very, very good at it. I've got a lot of witnesses to explain that if, we're trying to get to the truth. The truth is I've smacked Dante. I've kicked him. I've hit him with my fist. We could call it a punch. But how hard? And then who's to say? I'll say it's pretty hard. Really hard, yeah, sometimes. In moments when I really want him to learn that he shouldn't do things, for his safety. Like getting in the road, like eating out of garbage cans. Yeah. Dante is, and this, maybe this is an opinion of mine, so don't believe me, but that's a slogan, if you will. It's something I've said many times under In the Image Clothing Company content, and there's hundreds and hundreds of hours of me, Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, speaking, and a lot of them are just me confessing my sins. That's a lot of the reason for me filming certain videos and posting them in public, is to show what it really means to own up to things you've done, like I'm doing here, you know. Call it proving a point, but what else do you want? Isn't that what you want, is to trap me in what I have done? Well, let me tell you what I have done then, you know. Even if nobody knew about it, now the entire population of human beings ever has the possibility of knowing about these things in this video that I've said, because it's documented under what I call the gift of video. Me incriminating myself for things that are illegal or wrongful or abusive that I've done. Well, okay. No justification, but it just happens, you know. I'm not saying that it should, not saying that it's okay to hit anyone or anything ever. But Dante's one of the most fulfilled dogs I know. That's what I'm saying could be an opinion. An obedient dog is a fulfilled dog. Dogs are domesticated animals that are more fulfilled when you give them a command and they do what you've asked, and then you congratulate them for it. They have a purpose. They have a life. Otherwise, Dante doesn't have any dogs that he lives with currently. He just has me, and dogs are pack animals. You know, I'm not justifying, but my behavior is my behavior. If it's worthy of Dante being taken from me because I disciplined him for doing some things that were dangerous to him in ways that anyone thinks is too much or too harsh, then there you go. It's out of my hands. If it's out of my hands, the law is above me, you know, and God is above us all. Yeah, just to be clear, though, on me bringing Dante into this house without asking, since I have now gotten permission from the owners of the house to keep the dog in the house, which I guess they just changed their mind on the rules, which, well, there you go. All right. I mean, I broke a rule. I knew that I wasn't allowed to bring a dog in their house, and I did it. So there's me confessing the sin in the first place of what I did wrong there. But then after that, I publicly posted on the internet under the gift of video that I had a dog in this house. And my family members found out, and they sent it to the owners of this house, which they have the right to do. I posted it publicly on the internet, as I'm doing here with this video now, right? On the 13th of February, 2026. Because truth is truth. Oh, it's Friday the 13th. Superstition, if you've got it. Maybe you do, is what I mean. You know, it's been a big day. For a lot of people. Not just me. I'm not complaining. If I was complaining, I'd sit here and try to plead my own case to be innocent. I'm confessing my sins, even to anyone who doesn't know it. If they have the availability to view this video, then they can know some things here that I've done that are against the law, certain ones, you know. Certain things here, yeah, they're illegal. I can hide it, but, you know, we're learning in this life. We're learning. If I learn in a jail cell the rest of my life, then I can still learn. You know, a prison cell, you know, even like solitary confinement. If I learn by never being able to own a dog again because people have a problem with me disciplining my dog too physically hard for something that he did that was, you know, something he shouldn't do, getting into garbage cans, getting in the road, okay, chewing chicken bones, which did cause some blood to come out of his digestive system today on the 13th of February, 2026. And so I knew a lot of the repercussions that can come from eating cooked chicken bones, as this one was, because they're very sharp. And so I wanted to make a huge point of it. And maybe I stepped too far. Is it far enough that my dog should be taken from me? Well, that's not up to me if someone's going to be able to take my dog from me. It's not my choice at that point. You can say it was my choice to never do it in the first place, but I did it. It's been done. I'm not denying it. I'm owning up to it. What else do you want from me? I put cuffs on me, metaphorically, you know. handcuffs. I've put this rope around my wrist just to show I'll never do anything perfect. I'm always doing things wrong where I'm doing things wrong, if I am. Just to be clear. That sounded pretty vague, but it is what it is. Really, I'm only mocking myself here. What else do you want? I don't really have anything. I mean, I've got quite a few good clothing items. I'm the founder of InTheImageClothingCompany. Company. Okay, I've bought most every single one of them used from the thrift store with my mother's money. At 26 years old, I've been using my mother's money for food and for clothing. Yeah, living in a house I don't even pay any kind of rent in any way that could be measured. Well, monetary value-wise. I mean, I do things in the yard and in the house, and I run errands for my mom and run her places, but who's to say if that's really equivalent to paying rent, whatever is expected or might be, and by who? I'm just giving some context of what's going on. I'm incriminating myself is what I'm doing. That's the point of this video. Just so there's no question of, does he realize he's doing things wrong? Well, these things, I know. I've said them personally. Okay. I'll never be perfect. But should I be better? Well, then what? Because if I'm better than this, should I be better than I am when I get better than this? And Anyway. Yeah, I mean, I can't do anything to stop repercussions from coming. We have to have consequences from our actions, I could get thrown in jail for anything I ever do that's illegal. I could get killed for anything that anyone got so upset over that they just lashed out and killed me for it. I could get anything taken from me that's, legally the case, like not paying taxes. That's probably some kind of repercussions for that. But now it's just been publicly known because I haven't had a job since somewhere around 2023, 2022. That's why I don't know if it's been 3.5 years, 4 years. I don't know exactly. It's documented under records of when my last, legal W-2 job was. I mean, it's in the legal system of the United States tax documentation. That's what I'm saying is, I'm in debt and I don't have any way monetary value-wise out of my own doing to pay it off right now. It's like $900 or something, US, right? I mean, that's not all that great to be doing, really. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's been at least over a year since I've owed money on those tires I bought for that truck that I don't even own anymore. But yeah, take my dog from me if that's going to be the best option for whoever gets to decide that, right? The law is above me. God's above us all. I don't know what else you're going to take from me, though. I don't have a car, a job. I don't have a house. I don't really have many possessions at all. I don't even have a cell phone plan as of today's date. I had a cell phone plan, like, the ability to call and text and use the internet without Wi-Fi. I had that for at least 10 years, from the time I was 13 at least, right around there. Okay, about 10 years, yeah. I don't even have a cell phone plan. I don't, own much of anything. I've got some pairs of shoes. I've got some nice clothing. I've got a guitar that I bought used, little 3/4 size Johnson JG 610R with nylon strings. I'm Evan Strong. I do crazy things with nylon strings. But if that's the solution, is to take my dog away because I went way too far, if you think, disciplining him for anything I've ever disciplined him for. That's the thing is my sister, Becca Webb, she said, if I hit my dog one more time, she'll call and have him taken from me. And I said, well, okay, you can call and have anyone's dog taken from them if you find out that they hit their dog. You can call and have children taken from adults if they are hitting their children, the adults. It's your choices. That's what I mean. It's my choice, really, as long as I can control myself enough to not hit my dog harder than is necessary to discipline him, but who decides that, really? Is there a scale of how hard you can physically hit someone? A lot of people discipline their children by spanking them in a lot of parts of the earth, which this isn't okay to even say because I live in the United States of America. And so the law of the United States of America is something I have to abide by as a citizen, but in a lot of parts of the earth, just to show this, people are different. It is what it is, where it is, which doesn't include me. If I live in the United States of America, I have to abide by the laws here. But a lot of places, it's totally accepted to hit your wife or hit your kids, to eat dogs. A lot of parts of the earth, they eat dogs. That's a very common practice. So hitting a dog wouldn't even be a question. They might just grab the dog by any part of it and throw it at a wall to kill it and then eat it, just to give some context and some perspective. No justification. I've owned up to it. I hit my dog. I kicked him. I punched him. I threw him. But how hard? Not hard enough to physically hurt him. That's something I couldn't claim. It was 2 days ago, and he's standing and walking. He will come to me. He's sleeping, but if I say, "Dante, up. Hey. Get up, boy. Dante, come." His tail's wagging. You can't see it unless you can see maybe the shadow of it. He's going to stretch here. Ooh, Dante. Man, am I just so abusive to my dog that I restrain him to the point that he's just trying so hard to get away, and he's in so much physical pain, and he's physically broken. There's a good yawn from him. Come here, boy. Is he scared of me and wants to run away and never see me again? Am I holding him against his will only, but, just abusing him to make it happen, for him to come to me? I've got handcuffs on myself here that I've put. I mean, it's just ropes, but anyway, yeah, I mean, it's entirely legal for me to speak on my own experiences. Okay, even using names of other human beings who have been involved in my experiences, if I'm just speaking on them as they are. And the only reason I'm speaking on these things in this video here on the 13th of February, 2026 is to incriminate myself, Evan Strong, 26 years old. Am I not acting as a man should? I don't have my own job. I'm not supporting myself. How could I support kids one day? Wow. I've been told this many times by my own family members. Doesn't sound very encouraging. It just sounds like an accusation. And that's their choice to do. But again, just context, truth. The truth is, no, I don't have my own job. If I were to get kicked out, which I've asked to have happen before anything else bad comes from it, and no matter what I ask to have happen with that, I don't own the house. Legally, I could get kicked out at any moment. It hasn't happened. I'm not trying to break my family apart. I don't treat everyone in my family great all the time. Let me go as far as I go here to say I treat some people in my family terribly a lot of the time. Well, yeah, I do. There's me confessing my sins. Download this if you'd like to. I might try to delete it, and maybe he try to pretend he never said it. Well, God knows. Jesus Christ knows all. Yeah. I mean, my sister Becca Webb threatened to call the police on me tonight because we were in a conversation she didn't like. And I said, well, what good would it do? As I stood there with my hands in the air, wider than they are here, because I've physically put a rope around my own wrists here to prove a point. Oh, how prideful am I, proving a point? Well, that I'm the sinful one is the point. So it's up to you on how prideful that is. But I was standing there, about 20, 25 feet from my sister with my hands in the air at my sides in the visual act of surrender, saying, what will you tell the police when they come? She just was having a conversation with me that she didn't like, and she kept saying she wanted to leave, and I said, I'm not stopping you, because I wasn't. I wasn't between her and the door. I didn't physically touch her at all today on the 13th of February, 2026, in any way whatsoever. And she just kept threatening to call the police if I didn't leave. As I stood there with my hands in the air, I was yelling. I was very, very aggressively yelling to just have an argumentative debate with her on what is really happening, what's going on. And yes, I made a very, very messy sink in the kitchen because I had a lot of mold that got built up from me not rinsing out food that I had put into the sink, and it had been months. I did hit, and should we go as far as to say beat my dog 2 days ago, because it was disciplinary action, because he ate a chicken bone that did cause some internal bleeding. as far as I know, he's going to be okay from it. It was just a very small amount of blood that came out of his bowel movement, but he's acting fine, and he's still urinating and having bowel movements regularly. Yeah, he's got enough energy. He's just hanging out. He went on 2 relatively long walks today. This is what I mean. What's the truth? The truth is I hit my dog very, very hard. Who's to say? He still loves me. I still love him. He's physically okay. The truth is I've made some terrible threats to my mother, but one of them that I have truly said is, I will throw you through the wall. I was very worked up at a time. I couldn't physically lift my mother up, even if she was, one of the most petite women out there. I only weigh 140 pounds. I'm 6'2" tall, maybe 6'3" tall, and somewhere between there, but I couldn't even physically lift my mother up. Just the truth on my end of things, nothing to do with her weight, but to throw her through the wall. And so, and I've made some terrible accusations, sure. I've made some terrible threats, sure. But I haven't done anything permanently damaging. I haven't not obeyed something that's an actual permanent, like, do not do this or else, because the or else's haven't come. I mean, I have to deal with the repercussions for all of my actions, as do all of us in the ways that we do. Legally, eternally, through God, we will feel guilty inside of ourselves for things that we have done that we can't take back, things that we have said, ways that we have acted that we can't take back. That guilt will live with us unless we surrender it to Jesus Christ. And that's his choice to forgive us or not, I mean, see what I mean? It's just what it is. I'm very sinful. I am very sinful. I am very, very, very sinful. I'm very prideful. I've hit my dog very hard. I don't treat my mother the best that I possibly could. Am I entitled? The reason I ask is because, let me bring it up. Maybe I'm just extremely entitled, and I just think that I am entitled to live in this house because I just deserve anything that I want. Maybe that's the case. Here's some context, though, just because maybe that's the case. What else is really wrong that I've done? Universally wrong. Like, in this time period, in this situation, things that are going on here. What else is really wrong that I've done? Just confessing some sins, because it's better to have it all out in the open, right? Even if that means I lose my dog, even if that means I'm homeless, even if that means I go to not only jail for a few days or months, but prison for 20 years, 40 years. I've done what I've done. I mean, it's just for the other person, if there's another person, or the other animal, like Dante, it's a just, ruling for the other person's sake, for me to deal with repercussions of things that I've done to damage other humans. Yes. So there you go. Let the repercussions come. If I go to jail, if my dog gets taken from me, if I end up being homeless because, maybe it's not respecting my grandparents' house enough, my current behavior, by not cleaning out the sink. I haven't cleaned the toilet here in about maybe 3 weeks. Because I did clean it about 3 weeks ago. That's what I mean. That's why I say that the amount of time. Well, what I mean by the amount of time is because it's pretty gross. I mean, it's really pretty disgusting. Bowel movement in the toilet. It's stained on the inside of the porcelain toilet bowl. It'll have to be scrubbed off to get it off. And I haven't done that as of right now. It's quite dirty, as was the sink in the other room. When Dante did throw up his little piece of chicken bone here, It wasn't all that little. I mean, it was relatively large. I mean, I showed it in the video that I posted publicly on the internet, where I told human beings that have access to the internet, if they'd like to watch the video, that I hit my dog, I kicked him, I punched him, and I threw him. Here I am reiterating what happened. You know, there you go. I haven't cleaned the carpet here. I took a tissue, you know, like a Kleenex type thing, and I wiped it a little bit, maybe like an hour after it happened, though. The little bit of throw up that was with his piece of chicken bone, it was mostly just liquid, you know, stomach contents, right? But yeah, I haven't like shampooed this area of the carpet. I still haven't shampooed the areas of the carpet that Dante urinated on in that first week. I don't think it was past the first week, give or take, that he was here, that he was urinating. I mean, he stopped. He's potty trained, but he was nervous. He came from an animal shelter with a lot of loud barking dogs. As far as I know, he had been in there 25 days. I looked on the website of the South Utah Valley Animal Shelter the day that I adopted him, or the day after, but right around that time, just to kind of get an idea on how long he had been there. You know, he's coming into a house he doesn't know, and he didn't know me until he did. He urinated in the house. He just, you know, needed to learn where it was okay to urinate here, and also just out of anxiety or fear. Hey, transparency. I hit Dante very hard when he urinated in the house as well. But then he stopped urinating in the house. No justification. Self-incrimination. You ready to take my dog from me? Anyone. Legally, if it's legal or illegal or whatever, right? I'm in the wrong where I'm in the wrong. So let me just post it public so I cannot hide about these things specific. There you go. Maybe I'll be in my right mind tomorrow, and I'll do all I can to delete this before anyone else has had the opportunity to download it and save it permanently. I call it the gift of video because just as truth is a gift, truth is also incriminating. I have truly done wrong in the times that I have truly done wrong. Truth is truth. I don't get to decide. No, neither do you, though. Things only happen if they happen, or they don't if they don't. I love Dante, and you know, there's many episodes of In the Image Clothing Company podcast with Dante in them, and many videos on the main site of In the Image Clothing Company with Dante in them. There are videos on In the Image Clothing Company music with Dante in them, and there certainly are In the Image Clothing Company poodle videos with Dante in them as well. I've had Dante for over 2 months now, and he's only better physically, able to move, much more mobility in his body than when I adopted him. His hair is much shorter than even when I adopted him, and he got a haircut the day that I brought him home before I did. Dante's a happier dog, a more fulfilled dog now than when I adopted him. He's somewhere right around 2 years old. He's a rescue. He came in as a stray dog, and so we don't know for sure when his actual birth date was. Dante's a much more obedient dog now than he was when I adopted him. Yeah, Dante has a permanent home with me unless someone takes him from me, which is out of my control. If the law gets involved and it gets decided that I should not be owning Dante, this standard poodle here, that's not my choice. If it's not my choice, that's why I'm self-incriminating, because let's just make it known what's going on by the person who's doing the things we're discussing. There you go. Okay, there's some context, some explanation of how I am a sinful human being, and I am very evil in many ways, yes. Claiming to be a disciple of Jesus Christ. He is evil. He is hitting a dog. Yes, I did. Many times have I, yes, for disciplinary actions because of training. Have I gone too far? Maybe. But if I have, I have. There you go. Yeah, confessing some sins. We could make this a series. And I could do it from a prison cell, and it's the same thing. I've made the sins I've made, whether I'm just out there living the life that I want and living up my dreams, or if I'm in a prison cell, I'm still the same human being who's done the same things. I can still confess the same sins. Either way. If I confess them or not, it doesn't change that they've happened. What has happened has happened. I can't deny it if it's truth. We don't get to decide truth, though, so even if I wanted to try to deny these things, they've happened. You know, my word against whose? I'm going toward the point of me being evil here, and toward the point of, potential abuse to my dog, depending on who is classifying where the line of abuse is and what classifies abuse. I'm only against myself here. I'm only mocking myself here by tying a cotton green 3-brand straight. 3-strand braid rope around my wrists here that I personally braided. I was going to use it for a collar for Dante. I used it for about a day, and then I didn't anymore. But is this too thin? Is this choking my dog? Is that abuse? Is that abuse for my dog, to put this thin of a rope around his neck and call it a collar? Is it abuse for me to use a slip lead on my dog, which is essentially just a slip knot? It could kill the dog. Am I abusive toward my dog? Well, they use slip leads in dog shows, at animal shelters, at veterinarian clinics. You know, is it abusive to do what? And where's the line? Just to be very clear, I've hit Dante very hard. I have. I mean, it hurt my hand at times when I hit Dante open palm. You know, just on his hip there, you know, on the flat part of his upper leg in the rear. Or wherever I've hit him, whenever, because I could make it sound less bad than it was. I just want to make it clear, if my dog should be taken from me, take him. If I should go to prison, put me in prison. Like I said to my sister tonight, if you're just having too hard of a time with this conversation, when I wasn't threatening anything, I wasn't physically harming anyone, I wasn't doing anything in all of the entire conversation besides just standing in one spot with my hands up to the sides of me in the visual act of surrender, just to show I'm here to have a conversation. But if it's too hard for you, you can call the police. But when they get here, they're going to want to know the truth. So it's not any of our words against any of our words, really. No one's going to be right or wrong, really. They just want to know, well, why did you call us, and what was really happening? And that's what I want to know, is what really happened ever and always. And what has happened here is I've done a lot of things that are wrong in my life. We could truly make this a series. Me mocking myself. Evan Strong saying, yeah, I'm sinful. Holy cow. This guy should be killed and executed. It's the same thing. Wow. He doesn't even know what he's saying. He uses 2 different words, but they're the same meaning. He tried to say something different, but he claims to be so smart. This is me mocking myself. What more do you want? But I'm out of my mind, right? And so when I get into my right mind, I'll do all that I can to delete this. Hypothetically. But my sister tried to catch me in my words earlier and say, well, truth is truth, because I said something similar to this. I'm not saying that I will do all that I can do to delete this, but it's a hypothetical. Like, what if I did? Okay, but, I said it, so now is that what I'm going to do? Is that the truth? That I'm going to do all that I can to delete this after I've made it? Well, that's my point, is truth is truth. If someone downloads it, no matter how much I want to take it back or delete it, I can't. Even if I never posted this video public, the fact that I have said these words and done these things that I'm discussing here, that's happened. I could be sitting here speaking to this device and it can be turned off and not recording me. And I can still say these same words, and so you could still condemn me for them. I truly have said them. They're here now. If you are watching this, you know that I have. It's documented under the gift of video. Just to get to the truth. I'm not a perfect dog owner. I will never be a perfect father. I will never be a perfect husband to my wife if I ever get married. Maybe I'm just too evil and sinful and no woman will ever want to marry me. Maybe. Then what? Then will all the claims of my own family members be coming true when they say, you can never get married having this behavior? Well, if I can't, then I can't. I'm sinful. I'm evil. As we all are, where we all are, if we all are. I just want to make it clear. It seems as though human beings in my life, and what's so ironic about it is the only human beings in my life that are doing this to me currently are my own blood family relatives who claim that they love me. And they claim that that's the reason I'm still at this house, living here rent-free, is because they love me. Although, you know, they're nitpicking just about everything they find out about me. That doesn't sound like love to me. Well, hitting your dog doesn't sound like love to your dog. Well, okay. One point against another. Let's just talk about them all, though, and get everything out in the open. Truth is truth. And the truth is, yeah, my family members are coming after me as if they've got me trapped. And you'll never admit to this, and so let me tell you how evil you are. I'm evil. What more do you want? I'm evil. What more do you want? And now I've said it, posted publicly under the gift of video. Here you go. I'm evil, confessing some sins. Here, I'm confessing some sins. I mean, I talk about how truth is truth, and I don't like lies. I grew up lying a lot. I was terrified about my abusive father. So am I only abusing my dog because my dad beat me? Oh, my dad didn't beat me. But my dad abused me emotionally and verbally, and, took most every one of my choices away and told me who I was. So am I just playing out the same patterning with my dog and treating him so terrible? Let's confess some sins here. Can we confess some sins? Confessing some sins. What more do you want from me besides me to own up to the things that you think that I never will? Even if I don't own up to something, it's true if it's true. It doesn't really change anything if I don't own up to it. There could be entirely undisputed proof of the evil and wrong that I've done, and maybe I never own up to it, but I've still done it. If there's actual true proof, like video proof, audio proof, many eyewitnesses, and all the things that you could just say, as far as you could go to say that it's undisputed truth that I have done evil, well, whether I own up to it or not, I've still done it. That's what truth is. Yeah. Okay. I've done a lot of terrible things. And so here I am, Evan Strong, advocating for being a good owner of dogs, yet hitting my dog very hard in moments when I'm doing it as disciplinary action for things that are potentially harmful to him. So who's to say if that's right or wrong and where the line is of that being okay?